Hi, hi guys, how you doing? I'm live. First, I got new necklaces for my birthday, and this is one of them. I'm also wearing pink shorts today. I was going to go down and show them on the film, but I guess I won't do that. But I've gotten good compliments about them. People like the deviation from just blue almost all the time. So pink is cool. I'm going to continue to wear other colors than blue, and especially pink. So I've gotten good compliments, and thank you for complimenting me, everybody. And this is going to be a special little live to me. This is going to be a lesson on guitar, but it's a subject that doesn't get talked about that much, and that I've hardly ever talked about. Only recently, since I have been so into Eddie Van Halen, have I even thought about it much myself. It's harmonics and all the different notes on a string, harmonics on a string, and how they relate to the open note of the open string pitch, and the overtones and the partials, and the notes and intervals that are implied by the different harmonics. It doesn't get talked about a whole lot, and damn it should, you know. So here I go. How you guys doing? So I'm going to start with an open G string. It could be any open string. It could even be a fretted string, as long as the interval ratios are right. Let's say the open G string, and you have an overtone series. The overtones are all the overtones, but not including the fundamental note. The partials are all the overtones, including the fundamental note. It's like the difference between natural numbers and whole numbers. I think whole numbers, one of them starts with 1 and one of them starts with 0, but they're both similar. Only difference is one has 0 in it and one doesn't. Well, partials have the root, the fundamental note as the first thing, and the overtones only have the first overtone above the fundamental. So we basically talk about the same thing. It's just a slight difference. I like to talk. I like the word overtone, but I like to work with partials better because it talks about the fundamental is important. So I'm going to speak of partials. So the first partial would just be the open G string. You know, there's that. That's the fundamental note. Then if you do a harmonic at the 12th fret, that halves the length of the string, and so it gives you the first overtone or second partial, which is an octave above the G. So if you do a 12th fret harmonic on the G string, you're going to get a G, but an octave above the open note. And then the next one that comes around is the 7th fret. That would be dividing the string into 3 pieces, and that gives you the perfect fifth plus an octave. So harmonic on the 7th fret would be a G. That's an octave and a fifth above the original. No, not a G. A D. D is the fifth of G, and dividing a string into 3 makes a fifth. So the 7th fret harmonic would be a fifth plus an octave above the G, which is a G note. And then the 5th fret harmonic divides it back again into fourths. That gives you 2 octaves. So now you have a G note 2 octaves above the open G, and that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4th partial and 3rd harmonic. And then you have the 4th fret harmonic, and that would be a B note. That would be the major third above the G plus 2 octaves. So the 4th fret harmonic would be a B note that's 2 octaves plus a major third above the G note. That's the open string, and that's where most people end with their harmonics, I have a feeling, and they don't really go higher than that. But there's 3 more, at least within range, that can be played and sound and heard. The next one then is I call it 3.25. It's a quarter of the way between the 3rd fret and the 4th fret. And 2/5 is a quarter, so there's that. And that gives you a perfect fifth plus 2 octaves above G. So that gives you another G, and that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th partial, but 5th overtone. And then there's 2 more. There's one that I call that's at 2.66. That's 2/3 of the way between the 2nd fret and the 3rd fret. That is the 7th partial or 6th overtone. Of all the ones in the series, this is the one that's out of tune. The seventh partial, between E but flatter than an F. So it's too flat. But it's too sharp to be a major sixth. So it's actually between the E and the F, which makes it out of tune and not really used for creating harmony in the Western system. The seventh harmonic is the first one that it's the first prime number, which prime numbers generate new notes, that is not in tune with our 12-tone system. And then finally, the seventh harmonic or eighth partial is at 2.3. That's 3/10 of the way between the second and the third fret, and that is another G. That's 3 octaves above the open G. So and that's the seventh overtone or eighth partial. So to run over them again. Open G string is first partial. 12th fret. Harmonic is second partial, which is a G, an octave above the fundamental, and then the 7th fret is a perfect fifth and an octave above the fundamental, which would be a G, and then the 5th fret is another G, which is 2 octaves above the open G string. And then the 4th fret harmonic is a B, which is 2 octaves plus a major third above the open G. And then you have 3.25, 1/4 the way between the second and fourth frets, which is a perfect fifth plus 2 octaves above the open G. So that'd be another G. And then at 2.66, that's 2/3 of the way between the second and third frets, you have you have E/F, something somewhere between those two notes. It's usually thought of as an out of tune minor seventh rather than an out of tune major sixth. So usually you call it F in this case, because F is the minor seventh below of G, and that's the 7th partial and sixth overtone, and then finally you have 2.3, which is 3/10 of the way between the second and third frets, which is another G, 3 octaves above the open G. So, and you can do that on any string, and the same ratios occur even with strings that are fretted. You just have to execute the harmonics differently in certain cases, because you don't have 3 hands. One hand would have to fret the note, the other hand would have to hold the harmonic, and the other hand would have to pick it. So that's good to know those things. You know, it's good to know, first of all, where the harmonics are and that they sound cool, and then secondarily, it's even good to know what note you're getting. You know, so I'll do some. That wasn't anything weird. That wasn't snorting anything. but if you take all the overtones, starting on a G note, like I've just done, all the notes together combine to make. If you take out the 7th partial that's out of tune, all the notes combine to give you a G major triad. Because that's what the overtones generate, and that's what the major triad comes from. It comes from the fact that the overtones and partials generate a major triad. The minor triad came from the fact that if you do undertones or negative harmony version of it, you get the melodic inversion of a major triad, which if you play upward from low note to high note is actually a minor triad, but it's not a G in this case. It would be a C minor. The C minor would be C, E flat, and G, and E flat's a major third below G, and C is a perfect fifth below G. So those would be the undertones. And then if you take it from the bottom up, you would have G, A, B, C, D. G, A, B, C. You would have C, E flat, G, which is a C minor triad, and that's really which is a minor triad, a perfect fourth below the generating note that started the whole thing, and that's basically where the major minor duality came from. You know, we can hear a minor triad, we just can't generate it it's naturally through overtones, because the overtones will always give you a major third. But the undertones, measured upward, will give you a minor third, and that's where you have the yin and yang between major and minor. But major seems to always have the moral high ground because it's based on nature, whereas the minor triad is based on more of a manipulation and a theory, math. It's kind of an abstract idea. But it really sounds good too. Some people even prefer minor stuff. Amy Malmsteen loves minor. He loves the harmonic minor scale almost to the exclusion of the major scale. I don't, but he does. So more power to him. No one else was doing that when he did it, and he started a cool thing. So anyway, any more? You guys want to hear some more? Because I could go on a little bit, just a little. The first 6 partials, if you don't go as far as the 7th partial, because the 7th partial is out of tune. But if you take the first 6, you basically get 5 intervals that are from bottom up: an octave, perfect 5th, a perfect 4th, a major 3rd, and a minor 3rd. And that all forms what's called the scenarios. I've only read that one term one time and can't seem to find it on Google, but it is a thing. The scenarios is the first 6 partials. The first and second partial make an octave. The second and third make a perfect 5th. The third to the 4th make a perfect 4th. The 4th to the 5th make a major 3rd, and the 5th to the 6th make a minor 3rd. You literally have almost all the consonant intervals in music there. You have the octave, the perfect 5th, the perfect 4th, and then you have the major 3rd and the minor 3rd. So that's basically where intervals came from, and triads that come from the fact that they come from overtone series. So hope you enjoyed the lesson. One more thing. Something tells me I'm rambling, but let me just finish a thought. The Van Halen thing that I learned today. I'm going to explain that a little bit, because I'm not going to go on about it, because something tells me it's a personal thing, and if you want to learn it, you kind of have to go through the process yourself. It's not something I feel like just making cheap by marketing it. But I will give a tip on it right now. What Eddie was doing, and what I picked up on today, is he frets a string at a certain fret, and then he uses a tapping technique to tap the harmonics above that string where they would hit the note of the harmonic and make a little melody. And then go to the next string and different fret and do the same thing. He's like omitting the middleman of fingering by tapping it, rather than having to have 3 hands, one to hold the fret, one to hold the fret down, one to make the harmonic, and one to pick it. He's just fretting the note and then using the tapping finger as both the striking the harmonic and picking it. Because if you ping it with your finger really sharply, you can almost get the effect of you actually holding that harmonic and then picking it. So it's like he combined tapping with harmonics, which is completely brilliant. To my amazement, very few people have even picked up on it, and I have, so that's cool. But I don't know what's stopping people, but that is such a cool technique. I love it. And someone suggested that when I go from that technique to my standard technique, my other techniques, that I throw some octaves in, like Jimi Hendrix did on Throw Stuff in the Sun, or Eddie did a lot of octaves in his music. Wherever the Good Time's Gone, a lot of that is Beautiful Girls. Octaves are really cool, and thank you for the suggestion that was suggested to me. Anything to mix up the sounds, play the harmonics tapping technique, and then do some octaves, and then go back into the regular technique. So I love you guys. Peace. Rock and roll.